Hello! Hello everybody! And welcome! God, apparently that's what I've got to be like. Because now all the newbies are coming out that don't know anything about Elite FPL. Apparently someone like me comes across too aggressive. I had to turn off because you come across too aggressive. Oh, and pessimistic. And that's when I was being positive. Fucking loser. So I've just come off the back of recording a Total Stevo podcast. If you want to hear my day as a delivery driver, you can check me out at Total Stevo. But in all seriousness, this video is going to be about that team in front of you. Them over there. Burnley. Oh, Burnley. And why? Because Warfare held a gun to my head and went, "You will tell me what players to get from Burnley." No, he just asked about which players would you recommend to get from Burnley, and I'm just going to go through each individual one and just giving not each individual one, but the main players that I watched last season and would advise you to potentially look at your teams, not immediately, but certainly in the near future. If I look at for argument's sake, the fixtures, when they get nice and easy, it's around game week 9. So October the 21st, we're away at Brentford, and then we've got Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Arsenal, West Ham, Sheffield United, Wolves, Brighton, Everton, Fulham. So kind of like, well, I say halfway through the season, but certainly you want to be looking at us around game week 9-ish. But if you've got the odd Burnley enabler like Bayer, then the likes of playing them against Luton, Nottingham Forest, why not? Again, I made this point. I saw Capital FPL on Twitter release a first draft, and it had what I was talking about the other day, differentials, which actually, you know what they bring to their teams, or what they have brought to their previous teams, the likes of Maddison, for argument's sake. And these are players that potentially could get you ahead of the curve if you have the cojones to do it, and if they really do explode like we expect. The likes of Sun, as for argument's sake, they got some decent-ish fixtures, and you would think that for 9 million, a player like Sun, for argument's sake, would come through and potentially be the guy to get you those differential points. Just as a simple example. Now, with the likes of Burnley, for instance, or Sheffield United or Luton, as I keep saying, a lot of these teams, when they get promoted, one or two of them do okay for the first half of certainly the first 10 games. Now, looking at our fixtures here, they're not great, are they? Starting off at home to Man City, yes, people are saying, it could be a tough fixture. It's two similar styles, but we all saw what happened. Admittedly, it was at the Etihad, and for some reason, our players just curled up into a ball, didn't want to do what we normally do, and I genuinely wanted to cry. When the 5th goal went in, I was in my car, because I was watching, it was at 4-0, I went, forget it, I'm going shopping. Got in my car, literally, and now it's 5. I just wanted to fucking shed a tear. Because the performance for the first 10 minutes, I was like, we're doing all right. And then we just caved in. And that wasn't really a performance that I was particularly proud of, watching us, considering how well we had performed throughout the season. But yeah, starting off with Man City at home. Luton away is a decent enough fixture. Aston Villa at home, to be fair, is a decent fixture. At home. Or more specifically, we're away. But last season, as I'm looking here, we drew 1-1 with Luton. And I remember that game. We were 1-0 down for, if I click on here, We were 1-0 down for so long of the game. Yeah. They scored after 5 minutes and we didn't score until the 50th minute. Josh Brownhill. And it just ended 1-1. And I was really disappointed with that result because we should have been beating teams like Luton at our place anyway. Especially again, with the season that we were having up to, with the season we were having up to that point, we played so well against Huddersfield in the first game. Our second game against Luton, I would have thought we should be beating the team that's just been promoted. But away from home, we won 1-0. And that was on the 18th of February. And on that day, it was Ashley Barnes scored a penalty. Now, Luton were a very, very tough team last year. A very tough team. But certainly, I wouldn't be reading too much into it there. I see that Bell on that day was playing on the left-hand side as a wing-back. One to note, 4 million. But no, I certainly think some of the more easier fixtures, like I said, Luton, potentially Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest, if you've got like a defensive player, maybe play him. If you've even pulled the trigger on an attacking asset in the likes of Benson or Zawari, you can play him in that as well. But yeah, our opening fixtures up till, you can even argue Brentford's hard, but certainly from Brentford onwards in game week 9, but I wouldn't be going anywhere near Burnley to start with, unless, like I said, you want an enabler like the likes of Bayer. So, regarding Burnley themselves, first choice goalkeeper, yes, we've brought a player in from Bolton who supposedly is wanting first team football. Well, I'm telling you now, Muric is going to be the number one goalkeeper for us. Muric is going to be the number one goalkeeper for us, just for his distribution alone. Just for his distribution alone, I would say that Muric is locked. Yes, there are people that have said, well, we spent 15 million on this particular individual here. But trust me, he is not going to be replacing Muric, whose distribution is absolutely incredible. What's the line? Quarterback passes. And his name's James Trafford. The goalkeeper is James Trafford. Is it from Bolton, isn't it? But I can't see him, unless Vincent Kompany has seen something in him, but I think that he's there for competition for Muric. Now, Peacock Farrell is good enough competition, but his distribution was terrible. Kompany is looking to play out from the back. And if Muric can see a pass to one of our front four, he will fucking ping it to them and he will get that to that player. I wouldn't be surprised if Muric gets 1 assist this year. Potentially 1 assist this year. The only downside to Muric is from a shot stopping point of view, terrible. In fact, to be honest with you, think Edison. Second Edison gets a shot on him, it's a goal. But the thing is with Man City and Burnley, because they're so high possession based, the opposite team don't get enough of the ball. So Muric/Edison are just sat there like, and then when eventually some action happens, they've let a goal in. So I think this is going to be competition for Muric to up his game ironically from a goalkeeping aspect. But he's essentially a 12th man on the 11th outfield player on the pitch. Forget goalkeeper. That's what he's being used for. So just to quickly run through the rest of the team that WhoScored.com had as our predominant starting 11, even though it's all based on ratings, but it's pretty accurate. So Muric in goal. We would have had Connor Roberts on right back, Ian Matson at left back. Well, Maitson is apparently training with us, but it'd be amazing if we get him in. Then you got Harwood Bellis, who's not going to be joining us this season. And then Bayer. So, with that in mind, I'm going to assume that Company will play the player that we got in January called Ekdal. Ekdal, 4 million defender. He, for the few games that he played for us last year, was genuinely fantastic. He performed really, really well for us. He even got, I believe, a goal and assist, if I look here. He got a goal and assist in 770 minutes. He made 9 appearances, and I'm telling you now, in those 9 appearances, he looked fantastic. And I think personally, from a starting back 2 in the centre-backs, him, along with Bayer, will be ideal. Will be perfect for us. Big, strong, just what we need. Perfect for the Premier League, in my opinion. Josh Cullen and Joe Cork in the middle. I mean, Joe Cullen is the one that flaming holds the defence together, to be honest with you. He was the main reason why we did so well last year. Really dictated the play. He was genuinely fantastic. Now, up front, but we're not interested in any of that. Oh, by the way, looking through the defenders here, here's another absolute steal, Vitinho. Vitinho is an out-of-position player. He'll either play at left back, right back, centre midfield, left midfield, right midfield, it doesn't matter. But he would occasionally play on that right-hand side where Benson was, but he was used more for that defensive thought process. But the way I see Vitinho, Ashley Cole-like, fantastic going forward, fantastic defensively as well. So Vitinho, if he can nail a starting spot, he could be an absolute bargain at 4.5. Vincent Kompany liked him. Now, admittedly, he made only 23 appearances and 12 substitute appearances. Got 3 goals and 1 assist. But I think he'll be getting more next year. I think last season was more of getting him introduced to the Premier League. I believe he's a Brazilian. Sorry, introduced to English football in the Championship. But he was brilliant. And he's one to certainly look at. But certainly in that defence... Oh yeah, they brought in O'Shea, didn't they? O'Shea could be coming in for Bayer. But Bayer was one of our better players last year, so really it's going to be down to Ekdal or O'Shea who's going to be starting for us in centre-back. But right now I'm going to assume, because they spent that amount of money on O'Shea, it'll be him. But I personally, because I saw Ekdal, I'd be going with him to link up with Bayer. But certainly the rest of the players, the likes of Charlie Taylor, I think he's even leaving Charlie Taylor. But the rest of them, don't even worry about. So keep your eye on, it's basically Bayer, Ekdal, O'Shea and Vitinho in defence. In midfield, like I say, the up top, it will be, or it was, Teller on the right / up front, Brownhill behind, Zerari / Vitinho, but mainly Zerari on the left, and then Rodriguez, or more towards the end of the season, Ashley Barnes up top. Now we need to be getting in a striker. Again, I don't really follow any of the transfer news whatsoever, but we need to be getting in a striker to fill that void. But certainly, once we get that striker in, Weghorst, I think that the key to our game is the midfielders, the likes of Zerari, Benson, Brownhill. This is the key here. It's going to be mainly the midfielders that you want to be looking at. And those midfielders you definitely want to be looking at are the likes of Zerari, Benson. So Zerari at 5 million. Benson at 5.5. Zerari at 5 million. I mean, that is an absolute disgusting price. Scott Twine is an individual who was brought in, this wonder kid, I think it was from Milton Keynes Dons. Came in and pretty much got injured immediately. And he is one of those players that has got a lot of potential. A lot of potential. And an individual in which, if he can get a starting spot in that Burnley team, he'll be on all the spot kicks. More specifically, free kicks, corners. He's one to keep your eye on. 5 million. Could be an absolute steal. But again, we're not going to be looking at any of these players until, like I said, Game Week 9-10. Gudmundsson for his old head. Again, could be, quite good value. But he's not a starter. All these other players here. Chelanov. Bastion I was really impressed with, but he's not an option for a FPL. So yeah, certainly Zerari, Benson, and potentially Twine. And Brownhill as well. Very good price. And then up front, Rodriguez was great in our team, actually. Rodriguez was brilliant when he wasn't injured. He seemed to like the system we were playing in a lot. But then it's just the amount of injuries he was getting. He was dropped to the bench for obvious reasons. And then the likes of Teller just took over and he was just incredible. I mean, Rodriguez last season, 20 appearances, 8 sub-appearances, 10 goals, 2 assists. I'm telling you this, he was fantastic when he did play for us, and I think he's really enjoying playing underneath company. I think he's really enjoying that. Obafemi's injured. Foster did not impress me whatsoever. And then Weghorst, well, we know where he brings. The answer is absolutely nothing to the table. So yeah, really, there's not many options for Burnley, but certainly once the fixtures get better. I mean, I can, in the opening few fixtures, I can pretty much tell you this, that I bet you the likes of Brownhill, Vitinho, Benson, Zawari, I bet they all come through and people will be like, got to jump on them. And if they're showing the signs of confidence that they had last season, I'm telling you this, get on them immediately. And obviously from my point of view, I'll be trying to watch as many games of theirs as possible, but just get on them. Because when we're confident, when we're in form, these players are absolute gold mines. Like I say, with Zerari as an example. Last season, he got 7 goals, 5 assists, and that all happened in the first half of the season, to be honest with you. That all happened in the first half of the season, because like I said, he was shattered after the World Cup. Yeah, so hopefully that helped. Probably not. Certainly these are players to keep an eye on, I guess. On that note, as ever, thanks for watching and see you soon.